Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Welcome back, friends. So we move on to the third and final aspect of the receptive skills. As we were discussing before the break, we talked about the cognitive processes and the sub-skills of receiving. We also had a look very quickly of how we can improve our listening skills. Now we move on to reading skills, which are another very important receptive skills. How we can teach to become good readers and what are the things that are involved in teaching reading. So first of all, let us understand what reading is. We have all been reading all our lives, but reading is not simply looking at the written symbols, but it requires a lot of mental involvement on the part of the receiver in terms of making meaning from the written word, making meaning of the symbols at the text. It is a very complex skill which requires both knowledge of the language as well as knowledge of the world and a coordination of various other skills, sources of information, and bringing all of them together to make the reading process a success. To move further, here are a few definitions that I have brought for you. One very prominent writer, Grabe, he defines reading as a strategic process where a number of skills actually come into play, and these skills and processes call for an effort on the part of the reader to anticipate, select key information, organize, summarize, comprehend, and also identify the breakdowns in the process of communication and in the process of comprehension to achieve the reader goals. That means to make the best meaning out of whatever has been provided to you. The whole question arises, is teaching a natural learning skill, or can we teach students to become better readers? To answer this question, I would say that reading can be taught as listening can be taught. There have to be certain steps and processes which can be followed to make a person better reader. So why all do we read becomes a question, and that may take us to answering how we can make somebody a better reader. So we teach students read so that they can learn language. One of the major goals of reading is to learn language better. Most of us have learned English primarily by reading English. Sometimes we read for information. When we read newspapers, we read brochures, we read manuals, we read several books, we read for information. And sometimes we read to get awareness about the culture, about the society, about what progress have we made, about some spiritual knowledge. So we need to gain knowledge and awareness about several aspects of the culture. So reading becomes necessary, and reading is done for several purposes. There are two major ways of reading. Some of us read aloud. Particularly when you are looking at classrooms, students sometimes are asked to read aloud. Teachers also read aloud so that the students can listen to what the teacher has read and make sense of this. Sometimes students are asked to read aloud so that the teacher can get an idea how well are they able to read. On the other hand, there is silent reading. In silent reading, you do not vocalize. You are reading, but you are not reading it loudly so that anybody else can hear. But when you are doing silent reading, you are involving much more processes in your mind than you are involving in reading aloud. Reading aloud is more a physiological process, is a physical process. Whereas silent reading is one of the goals of reading, where you can read to yourself and you can do a lot more understanding of the text rather than when you are reading aloud. For example, whenever a teacher asks you, a student particularly, to read aloud in the class, and you must have observed that the person is reading slower than you are able to read, because in silent reading you are able to read faster, and in reading aloud the physiological process slows down your speed. A question arises, what do effective readers do? Because that can be a key to us to know what we can do to become effective readers. So the first thing that effective readers do is they read silently. They do not move their tongues, they do not move their tips, they do not move their lips or the teeth. They read internally, silently. They perceive information in the target language rather than translate. So several people have this habit. They read in English, they first translate in their mind in their native languages and then make sense of it. But effective readers try to understand the meaning in the target language itself. Whenever any new words come, they try to guess the meanings of those words from the context rather than skip those meanings. If you skip those words, you would be losing out on the meaning. Instead of that, it is better to guess the meaning of the words from the context. Then they use their schema, background information. They use their background information to understand the text. They think, oh, this is what I had read. This is what I had heard somewhere. This is what I know. This is what I learned. Okay, therefore the text might mean this. So they use their background information. Further, most of the good readers have a clear purpose in reading. Why am I reading? What do I want to gain from this reading? So there is a clear purpose. Do I want to get pleasure out of this? Do I want to get some information out of this? What kind of information am I looking for? Am I looking for facts and figures? Am I looking for what might happen next? Or am I looking to get a main idea from the text? So a clear purpose. They do not read word by word. They do not read letter by letter. They read phrase by phrase. We call that eye span. At a time, your eye can take in 3 to 5 words. So effective readers do not focus on each word, they rather focus on phrases. So to say, if you imagine a printed page of a book, instead of reading each word in the line, they would read it in 2 or 3 bits. 2 phrase or 3 phrase, and they are able to read it much faster. They concentrate on important information and they skim and skip the rest. And they use different strategies. Sometimes they do fast reading, sometimes they do slow reading. When they are skimming, they do fast reading. When they are scanning, they do slow reading. And when they are doing fast reading, they are also able to predict and inference the meaning of the text. So there are several skills that are involved in reading a text and comprehending a text. First of all, a reader needs to recognize the organization of the text. How is the text organized? There are several ways of organizing the text. A text can be cause and effect. A text can be arguments, certain arguments, argument 1, argument 2, argument 3, therefore. A text can be linear, one firstly, secondly, thirdly, and so on and so forth. So there can be various kinds of organizations. There are certain signpost words. There are certain sentences which are interrelated in a particular manner. So the first thing is recognition of the organization of the text. Once you organize the kind of text, it becomes easy for you to understand what is clearly stated and what is not clearly stated. You would be able to understand the meanings of the words that you know. Plus, you will be able to guess the meanings of the words that you do not know. This understanding will also help you identify what are the main ideas of the text and what is the detailed information that is given to substantiate these main ideas. And this identification will help you to make predictions and make inferences. So, if you remember, the 4 sub-skills of receptive skills, skimming, scanning, predicting and inferencing, all come into play as skills of reading comprehension. Okay. I move further. The entire process of reading can be divided into 3 main stages, as we had done in case of listening: pre-reading, during reading and after reading. The pre-reading is almost the same. Sensitize the readers to what they are supposed to read. Help them predict what will happen. Create a scene. Help them make certain assumptions. Ignite their interest. Motivate them in reading the text. So, pre-reading activities actually set the base for launching into the main reading activity. And the readers have to be sensitized and motivated enough at this stage so that they are able to happily engage with the reading task. The second step is while reading activities. Now, I am not going to give a long details, because when we were talking about listening, we were also talking about several of these things while listening activities. So, we are doing skimming, looking for main ideas, scanning for detailed information. We are also looking for signpost words, key post words, which tell us the kind of organization of the text. We identify connectors and what role they are playing. Connectors like therefore, meanwhile, before, after, as a result, etc. And when we understand the meanings of the words, there are 2 kinds of words: denotative and connotative meanings. Denotative is the dictionary meaning and connotative is the implied meaning. We will be looking more at these when we would study vocabulary. Now, in the third stage of teaching reading, we can involve a lot of role play, group activities by the participants, by the learners. We can engage them in a discussion on basis of the text that they have just read. We can give them fill in the blank or gap filling exercises. They can retell or narrate the entire incident to either their companion in a group or in the pair. You can ask them to summarize whatever they have read, or you can even ask them to write down what they have understood. So, there can be several kinds of activities which can be built to understand how well have they read and how well have they understood from the entire process of reading. Now, I move on to strategies of enhancing receptive skills. This is a kind of summarization of whatever we have gone through till now. I am not talking about listening or reading independently, but I am talking about both reading and listening as receptive skills. Skimming, scanning, using schema, the background knowledge, the prior knowledge, making predictions, asking questions to confirm whether you have understood it correctly or seeking more information, inferencing, making meaning from the text, making connections, identifying the connectors and how they are helping in the overall organization, using graphic organization, so a mental map in your mind. How is the text progressing? What is the sequence of organization of the text? And recognizing these sequences. So, if you are able to do all of these well, if you become a good skimmer, good scanner, if you ask the correct questions, if you are able to understand the overall organization of the text, you will definitely be a better receptor. You will be able to employ your receptive skills more efficiently and effectively. So in this unit so far, we have studied the receptive skills, listening and reading. We first began by identifying what cognitive processes go into making effective receptive skills. We also looked at the 4 sub-skills of receptive skills: skimming, scanning, predicting and inferencing. And then we went on to take up listening and the 3 stages of listening activities in detail. And then we talked about 4 skills, 4 activities that can be done to make readers better readers. I would like to summarize this unit, receptive skills. In this unit, we began by looking at the cognitive processes which help us enhance our receptive skills, listening and reading. We also looked at 4 basic receptive skills: skimming, scanning, predicting and inferencing. Then we went on to look at how listening can be enhanced, how listeners can become better listeners. So certain activities can be set up. Pre-listening activities can be a mode for listeners to go into the actual activities of listening, followed by the actual task of listening, and to gauge how well the listeners have learned the processes, they can be given post-listening activities. A similar kind of arrangement consists in improving the reading skills of the readers. Pre-listening activities, during listening activities and post-listening activities can help readers become more proficient in employing their skills. I hope you will be able to benefit from this lecture, and if there are any questions, I will be happy to take your questions. All the best.
स्वाध्यायः परमं तप